Phone and email scams are a common thing in every city, including here in Bloomington. And Marty Earley joins us now in studio to talk about the scams that are going on around the city. I guess, what are you hearing from folks? What are some of the scams going on right now?
Well, Lori, we're seeing a lot of scams involving the elderly folks right now. One of the biggest ones is they're calling them on the telephone. They're telling them they're the IRS calling and that they have to pay a fine immediately. If they don't, they're going to come out and arrest them and take them to jail. And then it instructs them to go immediately to like a Walmart or a business that will do a financial transaction over the wire for them and send money immediately to, usually it's out of the country. And they tell you, if somebody asks you what you're doing, tell them you're sending money to a family member, that they need the money, because it's a scam, and that's all it is. Another common one that we're seeing right now is they're calling the people and telling them that one of their loved ones is in jail, and they'll say, you know, and they'll have the name of their grandchildren or their cousin or whatever, and they'll say, you know, I need the money right away, or they're going to put me in jail, and they'll say, here's my lawyer, and they'll give the phone to somebody else. And they'll say, I'm their lawyer, you need to send this money immediately and we can get him out of jail, but without the money he's going to be in jail. And they do the same thing. Go to Western Union, wire this money to us right away or you'll be in jail. If you get it to us, we can get him out. Chances are, well, they're never in jail because it's a scam. If you would just call your loved one and say, hey, what's going on? They'll tell you they're at home watching TV. They're watching this program or something, learning about scams, because that's all it is. And if somebody calls you and says you need to send money immediately or you're going to get arrested or the IRS is coming to get you or someone's going to be in jail, that's bogus. It doesn't happen that way. We don't call people and tell them we're coming to arrest them if they don't pay this money immediately. We don't collect money from people. It's all bogus. So what we're trying to get the word out to people right now is if somebody calls you and they want you to do anything that gives up any of your information. One of the other examples is banks. They'll call and they'll say they're from your bank, and they'll know your bank name. And they'll say, we need you to go on your computer, let us get in there and we'll verify some things and correct it for you. And people are letting them in. And once they're into your computer, they're into your bank, and they'll clean your accounts out faster than you know what to do. So banks will never call you and ask you for this information. The IRS will never call you and ask you for this information. The police department will never call you and ask you for this information. So if somebody's ever calling you, telling you that you need to give up this information, don't.
So what are some of the red flags? I know you named a few there, but what are some of the triggers? Out of the country, they need money immediately. Can you kind of walk me through the big triggers? The
biggest trigger is they want money. None of these agencies, the IRS or somebody going to jail, needs money immediately, and they don't need it wired to them. If somebody was going to jail in our system, you have to come down in person and give that money to the police department to get them out of jail. You can't wire it to us. We don't accept wire transfers. Neither does anybody else. If it goes out of the country, it's a dead ringer. They don't belong there. If they say they're with your bank and they're asking you for your private information, they're not with your bank. If somebody ever calls you and says, I'm with your bank, say, okay, I'll call you right back. Hang up the phone and call it your bank. You will find out it's not them. The easiest thing to do, but it's the hardest thing for most people in this world to do, is hang up the phone. Because we're trained never to be rude to people. Well, this person on the other end is trying to steal your money. Hang up the phone.
So if I do become a victim of one of these scams, what do I do?
You should notify your local police department, but I'm going to be very honest with you. There's not a lot we can always do for you, especially if you send the money out of country. We don't have the resources or the ability to go tracing people in the foreign country. At that point, you need to go online and look up, the federal government has some websites that deal with fraud, and you can report it to them. But real honestly, most of these go unsolved.
And I know a lot of these scams really target older adults in the community. Why is this so hard to watch as a police officer, getting some of these phone calls from seniors who are falling for some of these scams? Well,
the problem is once a lot of them realize they become a victim of a scam, they're too embarrassed to tell people. And I understand that. You know, it's hard to say I was duped. You know, I thought I was doing the right thing. You know, we just had a lady here a couple weeks ago in Bloomington that got you've won the sweepstakes. You've won $1 million. all you have to do is pay the taxes up front. So you just need to send us a check for $7,000 and we will mail you the check for the rest of your money. That's bogus. It doesn't matter what lottery you win. If you win the lottery, they take their tax out. You don't have to pay it. The problem is once you pay one payment, they keep coming back and back and back till you finally either have no money or you catch on to the scam. This particular lady lost about $25,000 before somebody caught on to it and said stop. The nice thing is a lot of the banks today are catching on to this and they will stop, especially elderly people coming in that are taking large sums of money, which is unusual for them. They'll try to stop them and say don't do this. But if the person insists, there's not a lot they can do about it.
Definitely. Well, some good information there. Thank you, Marty, for joining me in studio to talk about this.
Well, thanks for having us on. We appreciate it. We hope that we can prevent some of this crime from happening.
Definitely. All right. Thank you. And we'll be right back after this short break.